Right, that's
Yeah.
that's for the first episode.
How's it going, guys? It's the first episode, the first podcast episode with two legends about to change the world with the way that we say things because we have a lot of fire to spit out, a lot of truth to say, a lot of content to spit out just for you. Hopefully, you learn something. Hopefully, you might not. Hopefully, I'm sure you agree with a lot. Even if you don't, that's okay. But definitely, we have a lot to share for you. Onwards and forwards. On to we're gonna start off with the man, the myth, the man, the legend, Farhoon Asim. Let's go.
Right, so a bit of background on myself. I live in the UK, specifically London, and Mr. Ahmed here, the legend, lives in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada. And we've just set up this podcast where we can just talk about stuff that we strongly believe in. And we've got really strong opinions, and we are really scared of being average, which is why we set up this podcast. And we know for a fact that, we might be making videos for months with like two viewers, one of them being me and the other one being Ahmed. But we're still gonna try, and we strongly believe that you can get what you want, given you put in the hard work and you've got determination and resilience. So that's basically it. We are a bit familiar with Zoom because of our blissful jobs, or I
Absolutely.
would say jobs that are sort of forcing us to go onto the internet.
Corporate has taught us a lot, and corporate
Yeah,
has taught us how to click a Zoom link, and now we're here.
exactly. So we haven't really got a topic to talk about today, but what we can talk about is why the education system is failed.
Oh, that's a deep one. That's a big one. I want to start off by saying education is completely rigged. So if your kids are in school, keep them in school. I don't want them to be out in the streets, selling drugs. But what I'm saying is, be aware that you're spending money for people to live a scripted life, to go through schooling for 12 years of just up till high school, and then another added 4 years of effectively they could have learned a lot of that just from YouTube.
Yeah.
And education, the way we think of education and the way we hope for education to enlighten us is to really teach us skills that we are ourselves curious about. But unfortunately, the way schoolings and institutions are structured, man, we just get put into these series of random courses and subjects. And Farun, tell me, why do I know the trigonometric formula? Why do I need that?
You don't
Tell
need
me.
it. The truth is you don't. But I'll tell you, you need it. The publisher of the book who
Yeah.
sells those books, those maths books,
Yeah.
they need you to read, like, study that shit so that you buy their books, and then they can make more money.
Yeah.
It's just it's all commercial, right? Another thing, like me and Emma were actually on call a few hours ago, and we were discussing like the sheer amount of effort and like will that we had during A levels to get the grades that we wanted. If we put that like even half the amount of effort into growing like this podcast or like a YouTube channel, we would be sitting on stacks of money. Like I wouldn't be in this flat. I'm grateful for my flat. I'm not ungrateful, but we would be like living the life. My
Yeah.
point is that we were, as Jimmy Cars, there's going to be some viewers from the UK, but Jimmy Carr is a pretty big comedian. And in his recent podcast with Stephen Bartlett, he said it depends on what stream you're in as well. You could be picking up like scraps of metal somewhere in Brazil, in the favelas in Brazil, but you're not going to get anywhere. You can do that for years. You can be working hard, but
Mm.
it's not the right stream, right?
Yeah.
But if you spend the same amount of time growing a podcast where scalability is not a problem, you could reach millions of people without, without logistical problems or supply chain problems. You could get
Mm.
a large viewership. You get loads of ad revenue, loads of sponsorships. That the same way, if you put the same amount of effort in a stream where it fulfills the all the criteria of making money while you sleep, leveraging time, all of that sort of stuff.
This is something that
That's a
school will
better
never
financial
teach you.
position.
This is something that I'm going to blame schooling and education for this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Education really narrows you down into one way of thinking. What was supposed to elevate and just, magnify your creativity and your thought process and how you think critically for yourself and how you can build something for yourself. None of that is being taught in your average school. I'm sorry to say this, but it is how it is. And what they're doing, it's a factory of puppets. It's a factory of people spitting out people who are ready for the job market only to chase a 9 to 5, which is being glorified to the in front of the man, like in society. So if you went to a renowned school and then got a job after that, is being celebrated. But a guy who's trying to hop out of school and trying to build something on his own craft on or something that they truly are passionate about, that is something frowned upon.
Exactly.
Even like not just not accepted or recognized, it's frowned upon. It's just, what are you doing? You're not doing something right in your life. Go back to school or do something
Blows
that's
my mind how that
yeah,
is the benchmark of success.
yeah,
Like spending 23 years in formal education to get a job where you're doing something where you're not even passionate about for a paycheck that, you know, these 15-year-olds are making in like days of work. Not that, you know, being in a job is bad, but the truth is most people are in jobs they hate. So they're not in it because of their passion. You know, most people aren't even passionate about becoming doctors. They just become doctors because they want to feel better about themselves or they want to get rich. But the truth is, you're not gonna get rich if you're a doctor.
yeah.
You are, maybe you are, but it'll take you 20 years. You
Mm,
could fast track that and do that in 2 years.
mm,
If you're in something where you can leverage scale, you can leverage time, you can basically your impact isn't limited by the hours that you work. So any business where, you know, you don't have to work and, you know, you can basically make money while you sleep, sounds very cliche, is what you want to be in, which is why media businesses do very well. You create one episode and then that episode will be watched for years. So you're making money for years after that, after doing the effort once. Whereas if you're selling burgers, right? You know, unless you've got a system where you're distributing how to make burgers, if you're selling basic burgers, you make the profit when you sell the burger, and then after that, it's gone. You can't make
right.
money while you sleep. You have to be selling an X amount of burgers to make X amount of money.
Yeah.
So it's stuff that, and you know, a lot of people just think we're obsessed with this stuff, or like, oh, where do you learn this stuff? Well, we learned it reading books, right? And
Here you
I started
go.
reading, so I just listen to books,
Yeah.
audiobooks. So it's
No, but we what's interesting is we need to really define what being rich means. Now, being at a job could pay you a very high salary and you could live with that, and you could maybe not love your job, but for the rest of your life, I mean, that's paying your bills, and that, which is why plenty people get satisfied with their paycheck and their 9 to 5 routine. But the fact of the matter is that 9 to 5 routine is just a fancier imprisonment, and I know I use that as a big term, imprisonment, because
I agree.
you're putting out a big portion of your life, not just your day, but your lifetime over the years, is just to a firm set 9 to 5, and you can't get out of that. Like think about, bro. I've been working at this the company that I'm working for. They're
Yeah.
giving me sick days. What does that even mean, bro? Sick. You can only have 5 sick days. What is that supposed to mean? I can only be sick for 5 days in the whole year. Like,
Oh my God. So, but so you're only allowed to be sick for 5 days a year. If you're
yeah.
sick for more than that, we will,
We're gonna cut you out. We're gonna chop off your paycheck. We're gonna
we're gonna get off
it's
your
coming out of your
paycheck.
pocket.
You will be slapped on the wrist for taking days off, for being, how dare you be sick for more than 5 days?
Yeah, yeah.
That is sick. That is sick. That's honestly sick.
Yeah. And it's just not me. It's plenty other more companies out there. Company name, 'cause they might cancel
Let's
me.
not
Yeah,
disclose the company name, but
they might cancel me. They're not.
it is a massive company in
Yeah.
short. So yeah, another thing with like being so rich is one thing and being wealthy is another thing. Being wealthy does not mean owning 5 yachts or like 5 houses somewhere in East London. No, being wealthy. What is being wealthy? Ahmed, I know you can explain this better than me.
Oh my God, what is being wealthy? That is the
Like,
question of the hour. See? Okay, you can be rich. Now, you can have $1 million in your pocket and you can call yourself rich. But guess what? Now you have to pay off a mortgage and that $1 million is gone. It's not for you to keep. What wealth means is you have enough resources that can outlive you. You have enough in your bank account of you have enough, and wealth does not necessarily have to mean money. It could be health. It could be you can be wealthy in friendships. You can be wealthy in relationships, in financial circumstances. You can be wealthy in many ways. But wealth, particularly in the sense of what it means, is something that can outlive you, something that can with your day-to-day lifestyle, it can sustain you for a long period of time. For example, if I say have um $500 in the bank and my expenses are barely $50, then in the sense of time, I am 10 months wealthy because that $500 is going to last me a
I
long
like
time.
that. Yeah.
Whereas I could be rich in the sense that I have $500, but now I got me a nice Gucci bag that nobody really cares about and take a few pictures and now I'm broke again.
Yeah.
So you need to think about what wealth is to you and
It's
what it means
relative.
to be rich.
Yeah. What like basically whatever Emma said is like there's a million definitions of wealth. Like I can believe with every definition. To summarize all of that is being wealthy, in short, in a very cliche way, it is waking up and not having to do the stuff that you don't want to do. So if you wake up and you get out of bed excited, and you get out and you the whole day grinding, you make $100 or £100 if you're in the UK, but you enjoyed it and you did it by choice, by will, and not because you had to pay the bills, you, my friend, are wealthy. Versus if you're in a job somewhere in Canary Wharf or Wall Street or downtown Toronto, and you make a £150,000 a year or like 300,000 Canadian dollars a year, but you really hate that when your phone rings or your Slack or Microsoft Team rings, and you look forward to the weekend. And if the weekend is a Sunday for you because you're in investment banking or you're in a tech startup that's growing fast or whatever, if you're waiting for that Saturday, even though your day rate is probably in the thousands, you're not wealthy because you don't have control over your life. Wealth. So it's not about, we're not obsessed with getting wealthy. We're obsessed with freedom. Wealth, you equate wealth with freedom. You don't equate wealth with a Lamborghini or like a, or like an expensive phone or like expensive clothes. It's freedom. So we need wealth to get freedom to do the stuff that we enjoy. We're enjoying this right now, right? It's like we feel like we're having a conversation, and hopefully we're teaching hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of you in the future. I don't know when, but hopefully in the future. So we'll do this. We're doing this for free. We do this for free. And this is what we want to do. We want to do stuff like this, where we enjoy it. And in an ideal situation, we get paid for it.
100%. 100%. And that is the true meaning of freedom, living on your own terms, doing what you do, doing what you love, and there's no string attached. You don't have to report to someone. You don't have to listen to someone else's like bullshit ass be a part of like some hierarchy and be like on the bottommost food chain and like just have to keep your head down and just be a yes man for the rest of your life. And that's pretty much what any 9 to 5 job is. I'm not particularly hating on a job per se. I mean, jobs are very noble. I mean, they keep your house running, they keep your the household running. I mean, without one, you're not giving. Even if you're better off being in a job than do nothing at all, right?
Agreed, yeah.
You need to partake in society, you need to contribute and give back to society in one shape or another. But the fact of the matter is, the freedom is the main motivation behind all wealth and all riches. Because what's good with the riches that you have in the bank when you can't even live that freely? Like, why would you have so much and accumulated so much in your bank account to the point where your bank account looks like a phone number, yet still you have to show up 9 in the morning and report to someone who's senior to you, and you have to be restricted in that regard, man. It's a bad bet. Like, what am I doing, bro?
Yeah, exactly. And there's another thing about wealth, right? So it's a very like sticky concept. So what wealth means to me, like when you're broke, wealth can mean having £1,000 coming into your bank every month, right? When you're once you've been in the job market for years, it's like, okay, I need to get to 100K in pounds, and I'm finally wealthy because I get 100K a year, so I'm wealthy. So it's very relative. So one key thing to understand is, if you switch your mindset, that instead of, because if you just focus wealth on a number, like if you just focus on wealth being making 6 figures in pounds or 6 figures in dollars, you're not like, you need to optimize for happiness. Happiness is freedom. So think of what you like, how you can get freedom. Yes, you can get freedom by getting wealthy, but if you can find I'm sort of diverging from the topic, but this is a bit interesting. Like the ideal situation would be to be on a pursuit, because obviously getting wealth isn't overnight. It's a pursuit. It may take some people months, it may take some people years, it takes some people decades. But the key thing is finding a pursuit that you enjoy. So I genuinely enjoy teaching people. like I was put on this planet to teach my fellow brothers and sisters.
That's
If
beautiful.
I can get wealthy doing that, then I have won in life.
100%. No, that's the thing. You need to recognize your own gift, because everybody inside of us, there's this one thing that lingers in your head, something that comes to you again and again, and you have this inclination. If you can recognize that inclination, pursue it, and then make a living off of it, and that truly is the most rewarding feeling and the most fulfilling life that you can ever have. And something that's not really spoken about again in any of our academic institutions. We're just, because him and I, we go way back. Me and Farhoon, we go way back. We go back to the high school days, and him and I could both agree that we just were shoved into this one pathway of either you go to engineering or become a finance guy. I took the engineering path. He took the finance path, and here we are today. We got the fruits of that, which is again a standard 9 to 5.
Fruits.
So
And then you realize you live that life, and you're like honestly, like this was like creating this podcast or whatever you call it was a very, very like I wouldn't say impulsive, but a very like sudden decision. But I literally told Emma, like I said, like, can we please do this podcast, because I would have something to look forward to.
yeah,
I need something to look forward to.
100%.
Oh, I don't want to turn this into a therapy session, but I don't want to be broken inside. I have been broken, and I've been broken for a while, but this is giving me energy.
Yeah.
If we get one person that
Yeah.
that gets motivated from like what we preach or what we believe in,
We've done our job.
we've done our job. But we don't want just one person, we want thousands to get motivated by us. And I know for a fact that we've been speaking for like 50 minutes or so. And if we speak any more than this, we're going to lose viewers. So I was just going to say, maybe Emma, if you agree, we should wrap up today's session with a
100%.
nice ending.
We're just gonna end this
Ending message.
on a high note. Just want to end this on a note for you to go back. The main takeaway from this would be, think about what you've been doing, how you've lived your whole life until now, and if you're even fulfilled with it, if you're even satisfied with it. If the answer is no, then you should figure out, do something, because you don't want to end up at an old age on this, when you're feeble, fragile, you can't move around, and regret the life that you spent. Because again, it's very easy to get sucked into a routine which is unfulfilling. And like Farhoon said, I mean, you can be sucked into a 9 to 5 that does not where you have nothing to look forward to, and if there's nothing to look forward to, you wouldn't want to have, you don't have a reason to wake up in the morning, and that's a terrible state to be in.
Yeah. And another very important thing that I'd like to end on, I agree with everything Ahmed said. The first step is to realize that you're not fulfilled and you're doing something that doesn't feed or doesn't take you towards your purpose. And once you've done that, try to think of a stream that fulfills, that can get you wealthy, and also that you can enjoy the pursuit of as well. So for that, I would recommend, and I wish I would get paid for this recommendation, but read this book. It's probably flipped, but it's called
Millionaire Fastlane.
The Millionaire Fastlane.
Yeah.
Read this book. I don't care
I'm actually reading the same author, and he had a second book, The Unscripted. It's the same author, the same guy.
NJ DeMarco. I need to read that book. But The Millionaire Fastlane and Unscripted. Read these books, whichever order first, I don't really care, but read these books and you will understand. Like all the conversations we had, they probably like somehow they're in those books for sure. So read those books and read them with an open mind, and don't discuss what you learn in those books with people, with closed-minded people, or just like boomers or whatever, because they're not going to help you get to where you want to be. That is it. And what do we call this podcast?
That's a good question. I don't know. We could think on that.
We could think about it. If we have one viewer, let's say we get one viewer, let's see if they're an honest, they stick to the end. Give us some recommendations on what we should name this. And yeah, that is it. Thank you very much.
That's a wrap.
And that's a wrap. What's the next episode? Where we promised to make 3 episodes a week. It might go up, but it won't go down. We promised ourselves that we'll do 3 times a week. And see you guys next time, whenever it is.
Take care. Peace out.